gmna uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, I'm Vivian Castellanos. Tonight we'll celebrate the Fire Museum's grand reopening, unpack the council's new probe into prediction market ads, and hear how the city's AI initiative is empowering small businesses. Traffic's light with only minor delays. Andre, what do you make of that?
Puppetworks, the traveling puppet theater, concluded its 3-month run in Park Slope this week, performing daily shows at Washington Park Playground.
Starting next Monday, the troupe will debut at the newly renovated Harlem Community Center, occupying the East Wing's open-air courtyard for interactive performances.
All shows are free to the public, with performances scheduled at 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m., encouraging families to attend throughout the day.
Our city's streets keep humming with creativity, and there's plenty more to explore, lots to get to, so let's begin. Here are our top stories. After a 2-year shutdown over safety concerns, the New York City Fire Museum in Hudson Square reopened to the public on August 12, 2026, showcasing historic firefighting artifacts. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
After a 2-year shutdown, the New York City Fire Museum swings its doors open again today in Hudson Square. The closure, which began in May 2024 over safety concerns, kept the collection of historic firefighting gear out of public view. Inside, visitors can now walk among original horse-drawn fire engines, vintage helmets, and brass fire alarms that once lined the city's streets. Curators have installed new fire suppression systems and reinforced flooring to meet modern codes, allowing the artifacts to be displayed safely. Staff members are guiding guests through the exhibits, highlighting how 19th-century crews battled blazes with hand-pump wagons. The reopening marks a return of a key piece of the city's heritage. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, Hudson Square.
The City Council has opened an investigation into whether New York can regulate how prediction market platforms advertise across the 5 boroughs. Council Speaker Julie Menon announced the probe Thursday, citing concerns that ads for speculative trading sites such as Polymarket and Kalshi may reach vulnerable New Yorkers. While the council lacks power to ban prediction markets outright, officials say they are reviewing existing advertising statutes to see if they can be applied to these digital venues. The inquiry will examine current consumer protection rules, digital marketing disclosures, and any precedent for limiting promotional content in financial technology services. City attorneys will coordinate with the mayor's office and the state attorney general to assess legal footing. The investigation remains ongoing, and council members have scheduled a series of hearings over the coming weeks to gather testimony from regulators, industry representatives, and consumer advocates.
6 months after the Supreme Court's February decision that struck down a swath of former President Donald Trump's emergency tariffs, New York City's small businesses continue to wrestle with high import costs. The court's reversal removed the legal basis for many levies, but the relief has been uneven. Importers nationwide have filed claims for roughly $121.75 billion in refunds, yet most of that money has not filtered down to the storefronts that rely on affordable foreign goods. Owners say the partial refunds offered by the administration failed to offset the lingering price hikes, leaving them with tighter margins and delayed inventory restocking. The lingering burden underscores how the broader tariff regime still shapes the city's commercial landscape, despite the High Court's ruling. City officials say the situation will require further policy attention as the city seeks to keep its vibrant small business sector competitive.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani presented his inaugural New York City budget to the State Financial Control Board, earning praise for transparency while officials warned of a persistent spending revenue gap. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani laid out his first city budget before the State Financial Control Board on August 12, 2026. Board members noted the new format offers clearer line item detail and easier public access, calling the presentation a step toward greater transparency. Both State Controller Thomas Di Napoli and City Controller Mark Levine praised the effort but warned that projected expenditures still outpace expected revenues, leaving a noticeable gap in the city's fiscal balance. The oversight panel, tasked with reviewing the budget for compliance and health, said the gap remains a concern that will need addressing in upcoming adjustments. The administration plans to refine revenue estimates while maintaining the more open reporting structure. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, New York City.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani toured a Brooklyn food distribution hub on Monday, unveiling the city's next step in its fight against soaring grocery bills. He said New York City will soon put out a request for an experienced operator to manage 5 municipal grocery stores, a pilot aimed at delivering lower-priced staples to neighborhoods that struggle most with food costs. The proposal follows the mayor's broader plan to open city-run supermarkets across the 5 boroughs, a move officials hope will give residents a reliable alternative to private retailers. Mamdani emphasized that keeping groceries affordable is a core priority for his administration, and that the new stores will be staffed by city employees while private partners handle day-to-day operations. The announcement comes as New Yorkers continue to feel pressure from inflation, and city leaders say the initiative could set a model for other municipalities nationwide. Coming up, we'll hear how Planned Parenthood staff rallied in Brooklyn over stalled contract talks, then preview today's eclipse. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Yesterday, more than 160 unionized staff members at the Planned Parenthood clinic in downtown Brooklyn took to the streets in a picket. Workers from Planned Parenthood of Greater New York rallied outside the facility, demanding a fair contract after negotiations stalled. The demonstration highlighted a stalemate that has left employees without an agreement since June. Participants called for improved wages, stronger workplace protections, and a bargaining process. Clinic management observed the protest but did not comment on the ongoing talks. The rally marks latest escalation in a dispute that began this year, underscoring pressure on both union and health provider to reach a resolution before service disruptions occur. The protest comes as over 160 employees have been working without a contract for months, raising concerns about staff morale and patient access. City labor officials are monitoring the dispute, but no formal mediation has been announced.
Jeff Steer led a lunch and learn on regulatory law for New York State Supreme Court interns at Manhattan Supreme Court on May 26. The session aims to deepen interns' understanding of legal duties. Raphael Brannigan has the full story.
Today, interns gathered in the Manhattan Supreme Court courtroom for a lunch and learn led by seasoned attorney Jeff Steer. Steer walked the group through the basics of regulatory law, outlining how agencies draft rules, the enforcement process, and the role lawyers play in navigating complex compliance frameworks. He highlighted real-world scenarios from environmental permits to financial disclosures to illustrate the day-to-day responsibilities that await them on the bench. Participants asked questions about filing motions, interpreting statutes, and the ethical obligations that guide their future decisions. The session capped off the summer series of workshops aimed at giving the judicial interns practical insight into the legal profession's inner workings. Raphael Brannigan, GMNA News, Manhattan.
Attendance at senior centers across the city has slipped on Tuesdays, the day they are required to serve plant-based meals under a mandate that took effect in July 2023. At the Encore Aging Through Arts Center in Midtown Manhattan, the weekly bingo program draws fewer participants, and staff report a noticeable drop in turnout compared with other days. City officials say the rule was intended to improve nutrition for older New Yorkers, but seniors say the menu options are less appealing than traditional fare. The pattern is repeating at multiple locations, prompting administrators to track participation numbers closely. The Department of Health has not announced any changes to the requirement, and the centers continue to offer the mandated meals while monitoring attendance trends. Officials will review the data next month to determine whether modifications are needed, and they encourage families to continue bringing loved ones to programs despite menu changes.
Earlier today, the beloved Puppet Works shop in Park Slope shut its doors, marking another shift in the city's small business landscape. The boutique, known for its handcrafted puppets and miniature horses, moved its entire inventory to a new venue in Harlem, where a custom-built passageway now welcomes visitors. Owners said the relocation offers more space for workshops and performances, while the Brooklyn storefront will be cleared by the end of the week. The Harlem space, situated on a bustling corridor of the Upper Manhattan neighborhood, features a dedicated studio and a small gallery for community events. Local shoppers in Park Slope expressed mixed feelings, noting the loss of a neighborhood favorite. Meanwhile, Harlem residents anticipate the fresh cultural offering, which adds to a growing cluster of independent shops sprouting across the borough and promising new collaborations.
Brad Alvilo has turned his smart car trunk into Pizza Pod NYC, the city's smallest pizzeria, serving slices from a mobile kitchen on streets across Manhattan. Priya Raghunathan has the full story.
Brad Alvilo has turned the back of his bright blue smart car into a rolling pizzeria he calls Pizza Pod NYC. The compact vehicle, parked on a curb in the East Village, unfolds a tiny prep station where dough is stretched, sauce slathered and cheese scattered before the oven, a portable wood-fired box that fits snugly in the trunk. Customers line up for a few minutes, watching the whole process, then grab a hot slice topped with classic mozzarella and pepperoni. The whole operation runs on a small generator and a battery-powered refrigeration unit, keeping ingredients fresh all day. Alvilo says the concept lets him bring fresh pizza to neighborhoods that lack a brick-and-mortar shop, and the novelty draws curious passers-by. Priya Raghunathan, GMNA News, New York City.
Now let's get a quick look at tonight's forecast with our weather team. Jet stream roaring west at 91 miles per hour keeps the heat locked in, while pressure holds steady. On August 12th, the city's all-time heat record stands at 94 degrees, set in 2025 during an unrelenting midsummer ridge. The cold extreme sits at 58 degrees, recorded in 2023 when an Arctic blast slipped far south. Normal highs for this date hover around 86 degrees, with lows near 72. Yesterday's temperature was a modest 86, well below the record but comfortably above the climatological average, illustrating how today's atmosphere is perched between those historic extremes. The live radar shows a blank canvas across the metropolitan area. No echoes appear from the Hudson eastward to the Atlantic, confirming a dry, stable air mass. With the jet stream carving a straight path at 91 miles per hour, any moisture would be sheared away before reaching the city. That quiet pattern will persist through the evening, allowing tonight's clear skies to hold until after midnight. At 6 p.m., the city sits at 86 degrees under a cloudless dome, humidity 35%, and a gentle west wind at 5 miles per hour. The air mass is anchored by steady high pressure, while the jet stream races west at 91 miles per hour, reinforcing subsidence and keeping clouds at bay. With dew point at 55 degrees, the night will feel comfortably dry as temperatures dip towards 72 after midnight. UV index remains at 7 for the brief twilight period, and wind gusts will not exceed 11 miles per hour. No alerts are in effect, so the evening proceeds unimpeded, setting the stage for tomorrow's shift. Thursday brings a shift to overcast skies as a lingering cold front drapes the region, with a high near 84 and a low around 68. Friday clears dramatically, allowing sunshine to return and temperatures to climb back to 88, while wind stays modest from the west. Saturday remains dry and warm, holding near 82 with lows in the high 60s. Sunday introduces a modest moisture surge, generating scattered showers and a 25% chance of rain. High stays at 82, low climbs to 70, and clouds linger. Monday caps the stretch with a hot surge to 93, low at 72, mostly clear, but retaining a 25% rain probability as lingering instability fades. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Up next, minor traffic delays, a look at our small business AI spotlight, plus Duke of Steel's record-breaking innings. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Major bottleneck tonight on the Belt Parkway at the 130th Avenue Bridge. Both directions are down to a single lane from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. weekdays, and the south side sidewalk is closed. Expect queues spilling onto 130th Avenue and nearby residential streets, especially for drivers heading to Howard Beach and the JFK corridor. On the Van Wyck Expressway, the Roosevelt Avenue Bridge also limits flow. The northbound lane stays closed through the night, and 2 southbound lanes are shut from 11 p.m. until 5 a.m., creating a backup that can linger into the early afternoon. Consider using the Whitestone or Grand Central sections of the expressway instead. In Greenpoint, the Greenpoint Avenue Bridge runs a single-lane alternating pattern each night from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., but daytime traffic moves freely. No accidents are reported and subway service runs on schedule. Expect moderate delays on the Belt Parkway and Van Wyck this afternoon, with smoother conditions elsewhere.
The calendar's quiet today, nothing on the docket, but we'll be back with fresh picks tomorrow. And now here's Desmond with sports.
All right, New York, here's the latest on our teams and their battles. Scranton Wilkes Barr's Duke Ellis turned a routine leadoff into a highlight on August 6th, snapping a high throw and stealing second at PNC Field. That play nudged him into the franchise's stolen base leaderboard, signaling the Yankees' top-level speed asset is edging closer to a major league call-up. With 3/4 of the season behind us, Cam Schlittler has vaulted from rookie surprise to Al Cy Young frontrunner, edging Dylan Cease by a razor-thin FWAR margin. His surge bolsters the Yankees' rotation depth and forces New York to consider a contract extension before free agency. The Yankees' birthday series rolls out another deep dive, spotlighting today's historic births from championship squads to Hall of Fame legends. It gives fans a quick reminder of the franchise's lineage and why those names still echo in the clubhouse. The Nets just released their NBA Cup itinerary, pairing marquee matchups with prime national television slots. With Terrence Mann leading the charge, the schedule promises heightened exposure for Brooklyn's young core and a chance to solidify their playoff push before the season's final stretch. The Liberty were left chasing shadows as Caitlin Clark unleashed a relentless 3-point barrage, propelling the Fever to a decisive win. New York's perimeter defense crumbled early, and the coaching staff now faces a stark choice: tighten rotation or overhaul scheme before the next matchup. The Mets were silenced at Truist Park, a 4-0 shutout that exposed a stagnant offense. Nolan McLean delivered a quality 6-inning start, allowing just 1 run, but without run support the club remains in the chase while New York searches for a spark. Stay tuned, the season story keeps unfolding across the city.
Thanks, Desmond. NYC Small Businesses AI Initiative, a tech collective spanning all 5 boroughs, is turning the city's entrepreneurial spirit into a homegrown AI revolution. Rather than hiring costly engineers, dozens of neighborhood cafes, boutique retailers, and independent studios are using low-code platforms to craft custom chatbots, inventory predictors, and marketing assistants right on their shop floors. The movement, highlighted in a recent BizJournals feature, shows how these firms are unlocking new revenue streams while keeping decision-making local. For communities from Bushwick to Harlem, the tools mean faster service, smarter staffing, and a chance to compete with larger chains on equal footing. It's a reminder that New York's greatest asset is its people, building the future with the tools they create themselves. Stay tuned as the midday sky darkens for a partial solar eclipse, a rare sight over our city this Thursday. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. A partial solar eclipse will sweep across New York City this Thursday, dimming daylight from about 1 o'clock to 2:30 p.m., offering a fleeting celestial view. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
At about 1 p.m., a thin slice of the sun will begin to disappear as the moon slides across the sky. The shadow will creep across the streets of Manhattan, dimming the light for roughly 1.5 hours before the sun reasserts itself around 2:30 p.m. on the ground. Pedestrians will notice a subtle chill and a soft, eerie twilight that lasts just a few minutes at a time. Astronomers say the moon will block roughly 20% of the solar disk, enough to create a noticeable darkening without total blackout. The event is part of a larger eclipse path crossing the United States on that day. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, Manhattan.
The Parks Department reports a sharp rise in fallen and damaged trees across the city's parks, including Prospect Park, as this year's storms grow more severe. Raphael Brannigan has the full story.
Our crews are racing through the boroughs as the department logs an unprecedented wave of downed limbs. In the past few months, fallen trunks have clogged pathways, blocked bike lanes, and littered playgrounds from the Upper West Side down to Prospect Park. Officials say the spike ties directly to a string of unusually fierce storms that have battered the city this year, leaving dozens of mature oaks and maples toppled in a single afternoon. The Parks Department has mobilized additional crews, prioritizing high-traffic corridors and vulnerable hill slopes while issuing alerts for residents to steer clear of unstable branches. Removal teams are working around the clock, but the sheer volume means some sites may stay closed for several days. Raphael Brannigan, GMNA News, Prospect Park.
Thank you, New York City, for joining us this evening. Tonight's highlight, seeing Brad Alvilo serve pizza from a smart car trunk, reminded us that big ideas can come in tiny packages. We appreciate your curiosity and look forward to bringing you more stories tomorrow at sunset. Good night.